story with Act 1. As Jesus is walking along the Sea of Galilee, gathering disciples, this is the beginning of his ministry, the beginning of a new adventure. And 12 lucky men are about to be invited on this adventure with Jesus, soon to become the world-famous 12 disciples. Now, to be a disciple in Bible times, that was a big deal. Young boys started at a young age studying the Torah. And as they got older, the more they studied, eventually, if they were the top of their class, they got to proceed. But most of the students, they got kicked out. They were basically told, hey, you're not good enough, so go back to your family trade. Which means by the time they were teenagers, most of these young men were now either fishermen, farmers, or carpenters, doing their family trade. But those who did pass, those who were at the top of their class, they got to move on, and they would find a rabbi. And they would go to that rabbi and they would beg that rabbi and say, Rabbi, please let me follow you. And would the rabbi say yes? No. First, the rabbi would say, in order to follow me, you need to perfectly know the scriptures. And so he would test them and quiz them. And it would be tough. He was trying to sift out. Basically, in that society, it was, we want the best of the best, and we spit out the rest. And they would find just the top of those students would get to become disciples. And the rest, he would say to them, you're not good enough. Go back to your family trade, which for many of them was fishing. So we begin our adventure with Jesus at the Sea of Galilee, gathering fishermen. And from here, he will go and he'll gather farmers and carpenters, which means that these men that Jesus is picking to be his disciples, every single one of them is a school dropout. These are the ones who were never good enough, who were not the top of their class. These are all ones who were told, hey, you didn't make the cut, go home. And while society says we want the best of the best and we spit out the rest, Jesus says, give me your unfavorites, your unchosen ones, the ones that nobody else wants. I'll take them. And where that society said you have to come to the Pharisee and beg to follow the Pharisee, or the rabbi, beg to follow the rabbi, Jesus said, no. I'm going to go to you and beg you to follow me. See, this is the difference between religion and relationship. Religion is all about man pursuing God, trying to be good enough, trying to be perfect enough for God. But see, Jesus came to show us that this whole relationship is God coming to man, saying, I want you. And so he comes and he picks these 12 men, and man, what a group he picked. I brought their resumes. Would you like to see their case files? Let's start with Peter. Let's look at his file. All right, Peter's strengths: bold, like very bold. Weaknesses: he attempted murder. Did you realize that? Peter attempted murder. Have you ever always thought, like, you know, I was raised up and my parents wouldn't let me dress up for Halloween. And so one time I was like, what if I dress up as a Bible character for Halloween? And then my parents were like, well, just pretend it's not Halloween, okay? And but my thing is, I always thought there could be this cool collection of costumes or Bible characters at Halloween time. For example, Peter, his costume could come with like a machete and a detachable ear, because he tries. We know the story where he cut a dude's ear off, and I used to think, wow, what precision, what great aim. No, he wasn't aiming for the ear, he was aiming for the head. And as the guy ducked, he got the ear. This guy attempted murder. Not only that, he's a liar, he's a quitter, he full on quits on Jesus, he's foul-mouthed. Did you know Peter cussed out a little girl? That's in the Bible. He cussed out a little girl because she said, aren't you with Jesus? And he saw Jesus being tortured and beaten, and he was like, I bleeping don't know him. By the way, this guy's supposed to be the best one. It's all downhill from here. Summary: he's passionate, but needs adult supervision. Later on, he will write one of my favorite verses. In fact, I'd like to read it together now. Now I want to bring back an old tradition. This is a tradition we see in the Old Testament where people would stand for the reading of the Word of God. So would you stand with me for the reading of the Word? It comes to us from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1, where Peter says, hello, my name is Peter. All right, you may be seated. You may be seated. That's it. That's the verse. It's one of my favorite verses in the Bible. He says, I am Peter, a disciple of Jesus Christ. Why do I love that verse? Because his name isn't Peter. That's not his name. That's not the name he was born with. He was born with the name Simon. And Simon, it comes from this sad story in the Old Testament where there was this woman who just thought, maybe my husband will love me if I bear children for him. And so she kept bearing children, and it didn't matter how many children she gave him, she was never good enough. And she names her son Simeon, which is where we get the name Simon, which is basically saying, like, he still doesn't love me. That's what Simon's named after. It's a really sad story. But like I said on Sunday, Jesus, he's not a name caller, he's a name changer. And he sees Simon, he says, I'm not gonna call you that. I'm gonna call you Peter, which means rock. Nowadays, we hear the name Peter, to us it sounds like a name. But when Jesus said it, it was a thing. It was literally boulder. So it's like, hi, how you doing? What's your name?
Earl.
Hi, Earl. I'm stone. I'm pebble. I'm concrete. It's not a name, it's a thing. And here's the thing. Peter has to go around and introduce himself as the rock. I am a rock, even though he doesn't feel like it, and it will take years for Peter ever to really become a rock. We're going to follow his journey tonight, and that's why I love 1 Peter 1:1, because once we get to 1 Peter, when Peter writes that line is a huge moment for him when he finally says, no, this is who I am. Maybe in my past I was Simon, but I am now a rock. So I love 1 Peter 1:1. He finally steps into his identity. Let's take a look at some of the identities of these other disciples. Next, we have James. Strengths, fiercely loyal to a fault. Weaknesses, he was power hungry, vengeful. Let me start with power hungry. He tells Jesus, I want to be your right-hand guy. Like when we all go to heaven, I want to be seated in like the best spot. Like Jesus, you can be the number one spot. I want to be number two. He's power hungry. He's vengeful. He has this famous quote where he's like, hey, Jesus, why don't we just call down some fire and just burn everybody, right? He's vengeful. Summary, he's ride or die, but needs a chill pill. Next, we've got John. Strengths, self-proclaimed favorite. I love this. When I was growing up, I was told that John was the beloved, that John was Jesus' favorite. Do you know who said that? John. That's the book of John. John said, by the way, I'm the best. Also, weaknesses, he's a mama's boy. He's too much like his brother because him and his brother have their mom ask Jesus to place them at the right hand. He's actually the brother of James. Summary, he's loving, but not above a humble brag. Next, we've got Andrew, the brother of Peter. Strengths, he's a good recruiter. He's actually the one who brings Peter to Jesus. Weaknesses, he lives in his brother's shadow. Summary, he's a faithful introvert. Next, Philip. He's a very practical thinker. Weaknesses, he struggles to connect obvious thoughts. After 3 years of being with Jesus, he actually says, Jesus, can you show us the Father? Like he still doesn't understand that Jesus is God. Summary, he needs things explained multiple times. Next, We've got Bartholomew. Strengths, he's honest, like brutally honest. Weaknesses, he's quick to judge. He's uncensored. They come to him and they say, hey, we think we found the Messiah. His name is Jesus. He's from Nazareth. And he literally says, Nazareth, what good can come from Nazareth? That's like saying, like, can a football team even come from Dallas? Like, that's basically what, and the answer is not for 30 years. Summary, he keeps it real, maybe too real. Next. Matthew, strengths, he's good with money. Weaknesses, he was a former tax collector. Do you know what that means? That means he betrayed his own people so that he could be in bed with the Roman government and make money off of his people. Summary, he's not popular at dinner parties. Next! Thomas. How many have heard of Thomas? Classic overthinker, known as Doubting Thomas. Summary, he wants receipts before faith. Next. The other James. Strengths. He probably had one. Weaknesses, we know nothing about him. Summary, wait, who? Next. Simon the Zealot. Strengths, he's passionate, he's strong, he's a good fighter. Weaknesses, he's a former extremist political radical. He's part of the rebellion, the revolution. He's murdered Romans out of zeal. Summary, now he's following the Prince of Peace, so he is very confused about their mission. He's literally packing, he brings swords. There's stories in the Bible where Jesus is going and Simon's like, hey, how many swords do you think we're gonna need? All right, very confused about what's happening. Next, Judas. Strengths, he asked a great question. Weaknesses, awkward introductions because he's not that Judas. Every time the Bible talks about this Judas, the Bible has to clarify, hey, it's not that Judas. Summary, he's a good guy, unfortunate name branding. Next! Finally, here he is, Judas Iscariot. Strengths, he's the group treasurer. So you know what that means? He can be trusted. Weaknesses, he's that Judas, thief, betrayer. He can't be trusted. He betrays Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Summary, he likes to hang around. Did we get it? He hung himself after he betrayed Jesus. And these are your disciples. That's the group that Jesus picked. It's a group that society would call losers and failures, people who are never good enough, people who have been told you don't belong here. This is the group that Jesus picked. And as they begin this adventure in Acts 1, Jesus is saying, hey, I don't care about your past. I don't care about where you've come from. I just want you right now, right as you are. And in a sense, he's helping them to say goodbye to yesterday. Wave goodbye to the old days. Say hello to a new man. Sing so long, I'm moving on and I'm singing goodbye yesterday. Say goodbye to the old pain. Say hello, it's a new day. Bring it on and hear my song. I'm singing goodbye yesterday. Yesterday was a book. It would be a long one if yesterday was a song. It would be a sad one if yesterday was a play. It like totally bombs. But here comes the sun. Yeah. Staring at a blank page, trying to write a new song. Grabbing my new pen and writing me a new word. I am not my tears, I am not my pain, I am not these fears, I am not this rain, I am not kick off Act 2 on the night of the Last Supper, which is about to kick off a horrendous night for Jesus, but also this is going to be the worst night of Peter's life. In fact, as they're at this supper table together, at one point in the conversation, Peter says to Jesus, "Jesus, I would die for you. Man, I go to prison for you." And Jesus looks at him and says, "Peter, actually tonight, you're going to deny that you even know me 3 times. Peter is crushed by this revelation, and he definitely doesn't believe it. So I imagine the whole night he's looking for ways to prove Jesus wrong, to show him that's not who I am. So eventually Jesus takes him to the Garden of Gethsemane, and thus begins a very long night, an unpredictable long night. Peter is exhausted, it's late. He keeps falling asleep, and Jesus has to keep waking him up and saying, "Peter, wake up, I need you to pray with me. All of you disciples, can you just stay awake and pray?" And Peter says yes, and he falls back asleep. And this happens a few times, but on one time in particular, as Jesus wakes him up, Peter can hear in Jesus' voice something feels different. And as he looks into the distance, he sees torches. He sees a mob approaching with spears. And in this moment, he has the chance. If we can just pause that right there. He has a moment, he has a chance to show Jesus, "I would die for you." So he grabs his sword and he runs up to one of the men and he takes a swing for his head. And as the guy ducks, he gets his ear, and Peter's thinking, okay, well, I missed his head, but at least Jesus can see I'm serious. But then Jesus reaches down into the dirt. He grabs the ear and he heals the man who had just had his ear taken from him. And in that moment, Peter realizes Jesus is giving up. Jesus is allowing them to arrest him. He's turning himself in. This wasn't the plan. So Peter runs into the woods with a few of the other disciples as Jesus is taken from scam trial to scam trial. Now he's in the courtyard being tortured and whipped. And Peter, he's following from the distance. He sees what's happening. And as he sees Jesus being beaten and tortured, someone approaches him and says, "Hey, aren't you a Jesus follower? Aren't you one of his disciples?" And Peter looks at Jesus, and he looks at the person asking, and he sees Jesus being beaten to a pulp, and he says, "No." He's afraid in that moment that they're going to arrest him next, so he says, "No, I don't know that guy." And then there's this young servant girl, and she approaches and she says, "No, I can hear in your voice. You're from Galilee. I recognize you. You're with Jesus." And he begins to curse and yell at her and says, "I don't know." Jesus is taken. But right before Jesus is taken to the cross, the Bible says that Jesus and Peter made eye contact. And right after Peter denied him a 3rd time, he caught the eyes of Jesus. And he was overcome with sorrow and shame, and he walks away. He leaves as Jesus hangs on this cross. And with agony and torture for hours and hours, as he's suffocating with his last breath, he says, "Father, forgive them." And in that moment, as he yells, "It is finished," not only was he forgiving you and me, but he was forgiving Peter right in that moment. And he breathes his last breath. And the Son of God, the hope of the world, dies. And the disciples begin to believe that all hope is lost. And as the disciples gather together, Peter is nowhere to be found. He's not with the disciples. As Jesus hangs on that cross, the weight of the world, all of our sins and our mistakes, through all of history, reaching from the past and into the future, is placed on the shoulders of Jesus. And he doesn't just die for the elite. He doesn't just die for those who are the top of their class. He dies for everybody. Imagine my surprise to find out that my life is worth more than dirt to you. Oh, imagine my relief to know and to believe that you would give your all for me. Am I really worth this much to you? Apparently it's true. Act 3, as Jesus is being buried into a tomb. Right before that happened, as he cried out his last breath, there was a veil in the temple, a giant curtain that separated man from God. But in that moment of the earthquake, the The curtain was ripped in half from top to bottom, meaning man couldn't rip it, only God could rip it. So before we can talk about this empty tomb, we have to rewind and talk about the empty room. The room in the temple, this Holy of Holies. Because in this temple there used to be the Ark of the Covenant, and God would dwell there. But there was a curtain that would separate man from the presence of God, and only the elite could enter. Only the best of the best could be in God's presence. But as Jesus gave his life, God took his hands and tore the veil in two, saying man may now enter. But when man entered that room, did you know that room was empty? Because the Ark of the Covenant had been stolen years ago. It was an empty room, and a curtain that was separating man from an empty room. Because that's what religion is. Religion is empty. It's a facade. It's pretending. But there's nothing in the room. And even God is not in that room. He's moved to the tomb to resurrect the Son of God. And Jesus comes out of that tomb, and he makes a beeline to the Sea of Galilee. He returns to the moment where it all began. The story has come full circle. We are back on that same beach where he first called his disciples. Why is he there? Because that's where Peter is. Peter quit the disciples, and Peter is gone fishing. Why? Because Peter knew when you fail your rabbi, the rabbi's going to tell you, you're not good enough. Go back to your family trade. And so Peter says, before he has to tell me that, I'm going to go back to my family trade. See, Peter is giving up on God before God can give up on him. He's saying, I know I'm a loser. I know I'm a failure. I know what I did. And he's giving up. He's giving up. He's going fishing. He's back where it all started, back to the only thing he thinks he's good at. I'm not good at being a disciple. I'm not good at following Jesus, but you know what I'm good at? I'm good at fishing. I'm really good at it. So I'm going back to my old life. Going back to the way it used to be. I think God made a mistake when he called me. I'm not cut out for this. So I'm going fishing. So Jesus finds Peter. Peter! Hey, bro! What you doing? I'm fishing. Catch me something. Bring it in. Let's have some fish and chips. Peter makes his way to the shore where Jesus is waiting for him. Jesus says, Peter, take a seat. Peter sits down and he looks at him, and he knows where this is going. He's having a hard time probably even making eye contact because he knows I deserve this. This is the moment where Jesus tells me. This is the moment where Jesus yells at me and says, I told you so! Remember the Last Supper? Remember I was like, hey, 3 times you betrayed me, and you were like, no. Remember you were like, I'd die for you. How'd that turn out? Remember when they were beating me up? And you looked at me right after you lied that you didn't even know me? Remember that? I hate you. Why can't you be more like your brother Andrew? You see, we all know the story. We know Jesus didn't say any of that. But I imagine if I was Peter, that's what I would think is coming. I would think I deserve to be berated. I deserved for him to yell at me and tell me I failed. And that's why Peter ran away, hoping to avoid this whole conversation. But now here he is. He's sitting next to Jesus. Jesus opens his mouth, takes a breath. He's about to ask a question, and I imagine Peter braces for it. Here it comes. Here it comes. He's going to yell at me, and I deserve it. Okay, Jesus, go for it. Just tell me what I did. Tell me what I did wrong. Jesus looks at him and says, friend, can I ask you a question? Yes, Jesus. You can ask me a question. Okay, this is a quick question. Do you love me? What? Do you love me? Don't you want to ask me about how I attempted murder and I cussed out a little girl and I betrayed? No. I already forgave you for that. That was like 3 days ago. I was on a cross and I literally said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. You were part of that. I've already moved on. I want you to move on. I already moved on. Peter, I forgave you in that moment. I forgave everybody in that moment. I've already moved on. I don't want to ask you about your past. I don't want to ask you about your failures. I just got one question, the only question that matters right now. Do you love me? Now the actual word, see, in English, we don't do this story justice. See, the word for love that Jesus uses is agape. Do you agape me? It means unconditional love. Basically, Peter, do you love me to the moon and back? Do you love me with every part of you? Now in English, we read, Peter, do you love me? And Peter says, yes, I love you. But that's not what he said. Jesus said, Peter, do you agape me? Peter says, Jesus, I phileo you. Now agape in English is love. Phileo in English is love. So in English, we lose the meaning of this conversation. Agape means an unconditional love. Phileo means like a brother, like friends. Like I probably wouldn't die for you, but like I'll hang out and stuff. You can be my Facebook friend. So let me try to use better English for this. In the sense, it's like Jesus says, do you love me? And Peter says, I like you. That would be a better translation. So Jesus asked him a second time, Peter, do you agape me? Do you love me? And Peter's like, bro, I just failed you. I'm not falling for this trap again. I'm not gonna tell you I'd die for you. I'll just say, you're cool, man. I like you. Jesus asked him 3 times, do you love me? But in the actual words, the first time, Jesus says, do you agape me? I phileo you. Do you agape me? I phileo you. So the 3rd time, Jesus says, hey, Peter, do you phileo me? Jesus changes the question. I want you to get this because when you read it in English, it says, do you love me? I love you. Do you love me? I love you. Do you love me? I love you. That's not what's happening here. Jesus says, do you agape me? I phileo you. Do you agape me? I phileo you. So on the 3rd time, Jesus changes the word for love. Peter, do you phileo me? Because he already knows the answer is yes. Jesus changed the question so that Peter could get the answer right. Because Jesus wants to meet you right where you're at. This whole thing isn't about us coming to the rabbi and saying, can I follow you? Can I try to be perfect to be with you? This is about Jesus coming to broken people and saying, I want you. And even if I've got to dumb down the question, I will do it so that you can get the answer right. Do you love me? I like you. Do you love me? I like you. Do you like me? Yes, I like you. does that? Who changes the question so that you can get the answer right? My teachers in high school didn't do that. It would have been nice. Society doesn't do that. But God so loved the world that He sent His one and only Son to help you and I get the answer right. Peter, you like me? I can work with that. But Jesus, I messed up. But do you like me? Yeah, I can work with that. But Jesus, I failed you. I cussed out a girl. I tried to commit murder. I pretended I didn't know you. Yeah, cool. But do you like me? Yes, I can work with that. All I need from you, Peter, is for you to say yes. All I need is your yes. I don't need you to come up with excuses of why I shouldn't have called you, why I shouldn't have picked you. I don't need you to come up with excuses of why you're not cut out for this ministry and you're not. All I need from you is a yes. I think there's some of us in this room who have been avoiding the yes because we've been canceling ourselves before God can cancel us. And Jesus has one question for you tonight. Do you like me? And if the answer is yes, then you've been called. You've been called. And the crazy thing is for people who still say no, then He leaves the 99 to go turn their no into a yes. He's just after your yes. That's all He wants. And too many times we give up on God before God can give up on us. And listen, I know what it feels like to want to give up. Man, I lost 80% of my tongue to stage 4 cancer. I was told I'd never speak again. I was told I'd never sing again. I'd never preach again. I remember when they did the surgery and they removed 80% of my tongue. And they took a chunk of my arm and they built a new tongue. And when I woke up from the surgery, my mouth was so swollen that I couldn't breathe through my mouth. And my nose was clogged up with blood from the feeding tubes, and I couldn't breathe through my nose. And the trach in my neck, it got clogged up with mucus, and I couldn't breathe through my neck, my mouth, or my nose, and I would suffocate over and over and over. And I just wanted to die. I know what it feels like to be on your deathbed and just want to die. To want to give up. For life to hurt so much that you'd rather die than live with the pain. And one night, I had enough. And I grabbed my phone and I typed easy ways to die. And I began to look around the room to figure out how can I give up right now? How can I kill myself right now? Because I'm done. And it was in that moment that my wife, she walked into the room and she saw that I was giving up and she didn't know what to do. And she didn't know what to say. So she just began to sing. She just began to worship. You are good, God. You are good, God. You are good, God. You are good. And she sang over and over and over. And I felt the peace of God enter that hospital room. And I finally, after 3 days of no sleep, she sang me to sleep. She sang for 3 hours. I drifted off to sleep in the presence of God. When I woke up the next morning, I was in my right mind, determined to keep living, determined to keep fighting. So that next morning, I made myself a checklist of 10 things that I was going to get done that day just to get me moving. And my friends, guess how many things I got done on that list? 0! Well, except for one. And I would like to end with this song. I wrote about it. It's called Checklist. Can we start that again? had a checklist, a to-do list of things that I wished I'd accomplished. But I only checked one box. It was 9 or 10 things, maybe 11, that I was hoping I'd finish before 7. But I only checked off one. Here's the list. Don't forget the dishes. Don't forget to mow the lawn. Don't forget to take the garbage out when you get home. Oh, and one more. Don't give up. And that's the only thing I got done that day, and even the next day all over again. 'Cause sometimes it takes all that you have just to wake up again and survive that day. Believe me, that's enough. I know it's okay. Skip the other things, I promise they can wait. Promise me you will not skip this day. Wake up again. Wake up and then don't give up. It was at the bottom in a hand-drawn box, hard to make out, just like my scribbled thought. It didn't say much, but I got it done. Don't give up. 3 simple words, just one little task, but it took all my energy, everything I had, but I'm still here, so I must have got it done. Don't forget the laundry, separate the dark from light. Don't forget to fix the bulbs, it's too dark tonight. And one more thing, don't give up. And that's the only thing I got done that day. It's even the next day all over again. 'Cause sometimes it takes all that you have to wake up again, survive that day. Believe me, that's enough. I know it's okay. Skip the other things, I promise they can wait. Just promise me you will not skip this day. Wake up again. Wake up and then forget the dishes. Forget to mow the lawn. Forget to take the garbage out when you get home. Just don't give up. My friends, don't give up on God before He gives up on you. Because I have good news for you. He's never given up. He's never given up on you. He's never given up. If He didn't give up on Peter, I think you're safe. That dude, something was off, man. This is a guy who jumped out of a boat to walk on water and couldn't even swim. This is not a guy who thinks things through. This is a guy who says, I'm all in. I'm all in. You know what I love? I've always wondered what point in the life of Peter did he finally become a rock? And I believe that it was right after this conversation with Jesus, when the unconditional love of Jesus just surrounded his heart. And he knew he was loved. And he knew that all he had to do was say yes. In that moment, he became a rock. Because the next time we see him is the day of Pentecost. And Peter stands up with a boldness like you've never seen. He says, you want to know what's happening? This is Jesus. This is Jesus. He was here. And you killed him. But I saw him. He came back to life. And if you want, you can join us in following him. And thousands of people get saved right in that sermon. The next time we see him, he's walking and his shadow is healing people. From then on, Peter becomes a rock. To the point where he can write 1 Peter 1:1 and say, my name! It's not Simon. It doesn't mean unloved. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough. No, my name is Rock. Concrete. I am Peter, a follower of Jesus Christ. And he will begin every book with the declaration of his identity. How did he get to that point? It's because he came face to face with a relational God. A God who just wanted a conversation. A God who left his throne and pursued man and said, would you follow me? Do you love me? Do you like me? All I need is a yes. And when he experienced the unconditional love of Jesus, even after the worst night of his life, the worst mistakes he ever made, he truly saw that nothing can separate us from the love of God. And in that moment, he stood up as a Peter. He was a Simon on that boat fishing. But when he came back to shore and had that conversation, he became the Peter God called him to be. With every head bowed and every eye closed. If you feel like God is calling you, maybe you don't quite know what he's calling you to do, but you just want to say yes. If you're here to say, I'm available for God to use me however he wishes to use me. If that's you, I want you to stand up right now, right out of your seat, right where you are, as we give God our yes and we say, I'm here. This is my yes, God. Whatever you want, I'm available. I may not be perfect. I may have quite a record in my past, but if you'll use Peter, then I know you'll use me. So God, I'm standing in front of the unconditional face of love, and I'm saying, yes, I like you. Yes, I love you. Yes, I am all in. If that's you, you stand with me now. And you reach your hand to heaven. You just say, yes. Yes, God, I love you. Yes, God, I like you. Yes, God, I want to follow you. Thank you. Repeat after me. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for dying for me. And thank you for living for me. I want to live for you in everything I say and everything I do. All for you. In Jesus' name, amen. Can we give God some praise this year? With your hands lifted, Lord, I give you my heart. I give you my soul. I live every moment I'm away. Lord, have your way in me. Lord, I give you my heart. I give you my soul. I give you my soul. to again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah. And I know it's not much, how nothing else before except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether wonderful. One more time. Here I am to bow down, here I am to say you're my God, and you're together. And I'll never know how much it costs to see myself upon the cross. No, I'll never know how much it costs to see myself upon the cross. So here I am to you're altogether lovely, altogether wonderful too. Let's end with this chorus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back, no turning back, no turning back. One more time. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. Come on, church. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. One more time. I have decided. Sing it out. I have decided. Come on. Jesus, yeah. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning, no turning back, no turning back. One more time. No turning back, no turning back. Give God some praise tonight. Come on. You may be seated. We're going to end with a finale and a celebration. But before we do that, on your chair, we've got a gift for you. If you weren't here Sunday, then on your chair there's a QR card. We're going to put it on the screen as well. If you were here Sunday, you know that my wife and I, from here, we're headed north towards Chicago. We're going to be doing, see if I can remember this right. All right, from here to December, it goes Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Between now and December, that's going to be our route. And then next year, God has opened up the doors. We're going to the Philippines. We're going to minister to 15,000 teenagers, and we're going to share our testimony and just preach Jesus, and going to talk about suicide and a lot of the things that these young people struggle with. And then from there, we've been invited to go to Indonesia. They said, we're going to pack a stadium, 25,000. We want you to come and just preach Jesus. They've invited us to Indonesia, South Africa, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. So right now, when we're not going to charge those cities or those churches for coming. So what we're doing right now is we're using this tour in America to raise support, to raise funds, so that we can say yes. We want to say yes to every country that has asked us to come. I forgot, I think South Africa as well. And we want to say yes to all of them, but we're not going to be a burden to them. So tonight, whatever you give, not only does it help us to stay on the road and pay for diesel and gas, because now that's the thing, but it also will help us to go into all the world and to preach the gospel. And so there's multiple ways you can do that. There's a love offering tonight, but also on this QR card, there's a donate button. If you hate QR, it's also the website, jasondavidmusic.com. And you can donate right there. You can donate one time, or if you'd like to become a monthly sponsor. It's tax deductible. My wife and I finally got our nonprofit up and running. Woo-hoo. And so whatever you give, you can even say, I'm just going to buy groceries once a month, or I'm just going to, whatever, just buy diesel or gas. Or if you want to, you can even say, I want to sponsor a juvenile detention center so they can get all the Bible curriculum for free. So there's many options there that you can support. We also have stuff for sale. People kept asking me to make a plush toy of myself. This is the weirdest thing in the world, you guys. I don't know if you ever had a plush toy made of you. It's not great, all right? They think I'm really white, okay? Look how white this guy is. And he's got yellow hair. But he does have my necklace, and he's got my hat and my shoes and my guitar, so that's cool. We also have our book for adults and our comic book for kids. And for those of you who collect vinyl records, we've got vinyl records of our music, including the song checklist that we sang tonight with the violin, and also on CD. But also, this is a shirt my wife sang over me. These are the music notes and the lyrics. You are good, God, you are good. That's what she sang over me in the hospital. And then this is our new tour shirt. And yes, it says Camden on the back. And if we don't have your size, they're literally sending 200 shirts to this church. It should be here this week or next. So we can get your size. We can write down your size, and you can still buy a shirt, and we'll get it to you. Anyway, that's my spiel. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and watch the adventure as we go from here around America and then to the rest of the world. And if you want free music, you can sign up right there. We'll send you all of our music, all the songs you heard tonight, and many more. All right, it's time to end with a finale. Are you ready to celebrate? Would you stand with me one more time as we sing Goodbye Yesterday? Wave goodbye to the old days. Say hello to when you met. Sing so long, I'm moving on, and I'm singing goodbye yesterday. Hey! Wave goodbye to the old pain. Say hello, this is a new day. Bring it on and hear my song. I'm singing goodbye yesterday. Goodbye, farewell. I'll never. I need to hear you. Goodbye, goodbye.
goodbye.
Wave goodbye to the old place. Say hello with a new face. Sing so long, I'm moving on. I'm singing goodbye yesterday. Wave goodbye to the old pain. Say hello with a new day. Bring it on and hear my song. I'm singing. I help me out yesterday. Goodbye, goodbye, farewell. I'll never see you again. Goodbye, goodbye, farewell. I'll never be you. Goodbye, goodbye, I'll never see you. Goodbye, goodbye, farewell. I'm singing goodbye yesterday. God bless you guys.